Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Sitting in for Pinky Webb, I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Today on the program, the Philippine National Police looks into the source of destabilization plot claims. The Interior Department expects the mass resignation of high-ranking officials to be finished by the end of this month. And we get an update on the Marcos administration's war on drugs. PNP spokesperson Police Colonel Jean Fajardo joins us live. Over 500 police generals and colonels have submitted their courtesy resignations as the government rids the police force of ties to the illegal drug trade. Only 3 to 4% of the 947 colonels and generals are involved in the drug trade based on the Philippine National Police's intelligence report. Interior Secretary Benher Abalos defended his appeal for mass resignation in the top ranks of the PNP.
These are radical times. These are extraordinary times which calls for radical and bold initiatives.
Meanwhile, the Armed Forces and Philippine National Police deny a supposed destabilization plot brewing in the military after President Bongbong Marcos appointed a new AFP Chief of Staff on Friday. The PNP is now investigating a memo that claimed the police are on heightened alert because of this development. Chrissy Dimatulak has the details.
As far as the destabilization is concerned, I don't think there is one.
One, there is no destabilization plot.
The military and police dismissed rumors of an alleged destabilization plot against the government. PNP Chief General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. says such talk comes around during a change in leadership. It's also a practice to be on high alert during a change of command ceremony because of the presence of high-priority people such as the president, who is also the commander-in-chief. But it's not normal for a PNP memorandum that went viral at the weekend, supposedly signed by Lieutenant Colonel Dexter Ominga from the Cordillera Regional Office. The memo on a PNP letterhead placed under heightened alert status all PNP units supposedly in line with the full alert guidance from the Chief PNP, following the supposed resignation of some defense personnel. Azurin says the police officer is now under investigation.
Members of the armed forces are united supporting the leadership of General Centino as the new Chief of Staff. And on the memo circulating, that's not from us. I think that is already being investigated by the PNP.
Definitely, the appropriate charges as well as the consequences of the lapses kung meron man will be meted to Police Colonel Dexter Ominga.
Azurin assures the public the PNP and AFP are one in supporting the administration.
I also talked to the Chief of Staff, the newly installed Chief of Staff, Sir Andres Acintino last night. At ang sabi nga niya is he gave the assurance that the PNP and the AFP will work hand in hand in ensuring that the Marcos administration will be very stable.
Ahead of the viral memo, a change of command in the AFP took place Saturday morning. General Andres Centino returned as Chief of Staff, a first in the history of the military, barely 5 months after he relinquished the post to Lieutenant General Bartolome Bacaro in August last year.
Today, as I take on this responsibility as Chief of Staff, I reiterate what I have focused on in the past, to comply with the urgent task at hand.
Centino and Bacaro are both from the Philippine Military Academy Maringal class of 1988. Amid the sudden transition, Bacaro only speaks about his gratitude.
Sa mga kasabang kong sundalo, marino, airmen, and sailors. Sa mga patuloy na nagtitiwala at sumuporta sa akin, maraming salamat. I have felt the outpouring support from the bottom of my heart. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
The military says troop morale is high. It adds it remains true to its mission, protect the country and the people from any threat. Chrissy Dimatulak, CNN Philippines.
Let's go straight to the source of the story, PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo. Colonel, magandang umaga. Thank you for being here.
Magandang umaga po, Ms. Ria.
All right, Colonel, let's begin with this. Over the weekend, the PNP already denied that there is a destabilization plot because of the mass resignations of high-ranking officials in the PNP, and then, of course, this unexpected change of leadership in the AFP. Are you looking into this? Would there be any basis for a so-called plot for destabilization?
We are closely coordinating with our AFP counterpart, Ms. Ria, and no less than their spokesperson denied any issue with respect to the mass resignation of senior military officer as well as this destabilization plot, and we will take their word for that. On the part of the PNP, while it is true that we declared heightened alert over the weekend, this is not because there are issues on the stabilization plot, but this is a normal police protocol when we are providing security coverage, particularly in major events like the Peace of Black Nasser.
All right, but Colonel, these claims, if ever, how do you go about validating them? And once malaman nyo kung sinong nagpakalat, what will happen?
We are continuously validating and confirming whether there is a semblance of truth with respect to the destabilization plot that reached the social media platform, different social media platform over the weekend. Like I said earlier, we are closely coordinating with our PNP counterparts. No less than our Chief PNP, Police General Rodolfo Azurin Jr. has stated that he already talked with the new Chief of Staff, General Centino, and he also denied there are issues on the stabilization plot on the part of the AFP. And nonetheless, we are continuously validating this information with our other security forces to confirm or at least make some efforts to validate if there are indeed some sectors floating this idea of destabilization plot.
So ma'am, ano yung mga initial findings nyo so far tungkol dito?
What the initial findings involves the investigation with respect to the different documents that were floated in different social media forum, particularly those involved PNP documents. That is part of the investigation being conducted by the PNP. And in fact, some officers who were named in those documents were made to explain, and the regional directors of the respective regions where these documents floated are now being subjected to investigation to find out where these reports were released without the proper authority from the national headquarters. But what we confirm, Ms. Ria, that we were indeed in heightened alert last weekend, not because of any destabilization plot, but because of different major events happening in different parts of our country.
Right. Now, ma'am, yesterday we spoke to DILG secretary and I asked him, what is the morale like over at the PNP? And he wasn't able to answer because he said, I'm not really entrenched within the PNP. But now that we have you here on the program, ma'am, can you tell us, now that over 500 top officials have already filed their courtesy resignation, what is the mood and the morale like within the ranks of the PNP?
Well, the PNP organization is like any other organization, is a professional one. We respect the wisdom and decision of our leadership, and the morale remains high, considering there are some issues being trenched out, particularly the call for courtesy resignation. And this move of our Chief PNP
All right, we are trying to fix the connection there with Colonel Jean Fajardo, who is speaking to us.
The PNP officer were the...
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like I said earlier, after the pronouncement of our SILG, there were meetings held between the Chief PNP and senior officers from Kamkame. And last Thursday, there was a PNP command conference wherein the Chief PNP reiterated his intention and his desire and wisdom behind his decision for the call for the courtesy resignation of at least 956 senior officers. And once the explanation was made, I think majority, if not all, of those who attended the meeting will committed to
All right. Colonel Fajardo? Okay, all right, we are trying to fix that line with Colonel Jean Fajardo. Ma'am, we're going to take a very short break, but we will be back. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat-Cotrillo, and our source today, PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo. Welcome back to the program. Earlier, before the line became a little unstable, we were talking about how the resignations are affecting the morale of the PNP. Can you talk to us specifically about the reaction of the lower ranks of the PNP?
Well, with respect to the comment and reaction of the lower members of the PNP, I think they are just monitoring and looking and observing what will be the outcome of this call for resignation. What we can say is that we hope that those police lieutenant colonel down will be more motivated in performing their job, because no less than the highest leadership of the PNP heeded the call to cleanse the ranks of the PNP, so that we could avoid a lot of insinuation and innuendos that a lot of senior officers are involved in illegal drug activities. And we hope that this process will be put to end the soonest possible way, so that we could all move forward and the PNP once again will be trusted by our people.
Ma'am, when this call came out for the resignation of the colonels and the generals within the PNP, did it cause any kind of confusion within the ranks?
Well, we cannot deny, Ma'am Maria, that after the pronouncement of our chief PNP, there are a number of senior officers who manifested their disagreement with the call to submit their courtesy resignation, because if indeed there were some senior officers identified possibly involved in illegal activities, why not focus the investigation on those identified personalities? However, when our chief PNP explained that this will be for the good of the PNP organization, and when we speak of the PNP organization, Ms. Ria, our personal interest with respect to the matter will have to take the back seat, and we are hoping that after this process we could move forward, and for those who are innocent will be clear once and for all, and for those who will be found involved in illegal drugs will be penalized and removed from our ranks, so that again, the desire of the PNP is to cleanse our rank, and hopefully we are hoping and we are putting our trust with the PNP leadership, and we are putting our trust with the system, and hopefully after a few months this intention will be met, so that the PNP will once again be trusted by the community.
Right. I just want us to go back to the destabilization plot. Of course, the root of this was that memo signed by a certain police Lieutenant Colonel Dexter Ominga of the Police Regional Office in Cordillera. Ma'am, have you been able to confirm the authenticity of the said memo that was circulating?
That is part of the investigation being conducted by the CIDG and the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group. And yes, the Colonel Umingan is among the officers being made to explain how come his signed document were released at the different social media platform, and that is part of the investigation. I don't want to jump into conclusion and preempt the ongoing investigation, but suffice to say, he is one of those being made to explain why these documents were released, and there was an unauthorized release of these documents in the media, in the social media.
So, ma'am, maybe you can take us through what exactly is the protocol for issuing memoranda. One like this that's going to declare heightened alert. What is the process? Where does it start?
Well, if the regional director has the discretion or authority to issue memorandum with respect to declaration of the alert status, if there are some incidents in their respective areas of jurisdiction, then they are allowed to do so. On the part of the national headquarters, if there are major events like the Feast of the Black Nazarene or national events that requires the declaration of heightened alert nationwide, then the memoranda will have to come from the national headquarters down to the regional, down to the provincial, and up to the level of the local police station. With respect to this declaration of the heightened alert, we want to once again reiterate that it was intended for the police security coverage for the major events happening not only in Manila but in other parts of the country. The issue on the stabilization plot is not an issue on the declaration of the heightened alert over the weekend, ma'am.
All right. And speaking of that heightened alert, is PNP still on high alert, or have you lowered the alert levels since the Feast of the Black Nazarene has concluded?
We are still on heightened alert because we are still looking at the possibility that there are a few of our people who still wants to visit the Quiapo Church and other areas where these festivities are being undertaken, like in Cebu. We are looking at the start of the Sinulog Festival in Region 10. Also, we are also monitoring some festivities there. So again, like I said, the regional director are given the discretion to make the necessary adjustment with respect to the status of their alert level, depending on the current situation in their respective area of jurisdiction.
No, yesterday, DILG Chief Benher Abalos was on the program yesterday, and he shared with us that 60% of the 900-plus high-ranking officials have already submitted their courtesy resignations. Are you expecting more this week? If so, how many?
That is correct, ma'am. We are expecting it will be at least we will come up with a bigger number compared to the figure given by yesterday by our SILG, and we will like to confirm that more or less 500 plus senior officers have already submitted their courtesy resignation. But for those senior officers assigned in Visayas and Mindanao, we expect their courtesy resignation would reach Kamkame within this week, ma'am.
All right. So far, yung mga nag-hand in ng courtesy resignations, mostly from Luzon ba po?
Yes, ma'am, from Luzon and national headquarters and other nearby provinces. And from those coming from Visayas and Mindanao, we expect their courtesy resignation would at least reach the national headquarters within this week, if not next week, ma'am.
All right, ma'am, do you think that the target of getting all relevant personnel, getting their resignations, do you think the target of end of January will be met?
That is the hope of our Chief PNP, that at the end of January, all the 954 senior officers will submit their courtesy resignation so that this process can be started as soon as possible way. And like what our SIG has mentioned yesterday during your interview with him, that he committed that at least 2 to 3 months this process will be terminated so that we could all move forward now.
Right. So the deadline is, like, I believe, end of the month, right? Do you think that all 900 officials will resign? The secretary did say, this is not a command, it's an appeal. Do you feel that there are some forms of resistance from certain officials?
Well, we cannot deny there are some senior officer who has a reservation in submitting their courtesy resignation. But like our Chief PNP has said, if it takes for him to talk with this senior officer to let them feel and explain to them personally the intention of this call for courtesy resignation, and we are hoping that all senior officers will take the lead. To take the lead of our Chief PNP and submit their respective courtesy resignation po.
Ma'am, sa alam niyo po, how many of the officers are resistant to this call for resigning?
Well, I don't have the exact figure, Ms. Ria, but like I said, last Wednesday and last Thursday, there were some reservation, and they voiced out some of their reservation, and the Chief PNP answer all the questions and reservation of some senior officer who voiced out their concern, and I was there also, Ms. Ria, and I myself heard the explanation of our Chief PNP, and we are hoping also that like our Chief PNP has said, this is not about legal issues. This is really a test of character for all of us senior officer. If we think that we have not done anything wrong in our career as senior officer, there's no reason for us to fear this call for courtesy resignation. And hopefully, and we are hoping and trusting the system that the 5-man team who will compose the committee will conduct their assessment and evaluation in the most judicious and fair manner po.
Among those who aired their concerns and reservations, could you give us details about that? What were exactly their concerns and reservations about having to hand in the resignations?
Well, one issues that crop up during the meeting is this really is this really necessary for all of us to resign? If indeed there are some ranking officers that were identified and pinpointed during the investigation, why not focus on them? Why there is a need to call for the resignation of all senior officers? And the response of our Chief PNP, while indeed there were some who were identified during the investigation, but we cannot deny that if there are 1 or 2 PNP personnel identified and caught involved in illegal drug activities, it's not only them that are being implicated in illegal drug activities. It's the whole organization that are being cursed, that are being accused of doing illegal things. So once and for all, we need to step up and take the lead of making the supreme sacrifice of submitting our courtesy resignation. That all of us senior officer who will lead, who is currently leading the PNP and in the future will lead the PNP, will be the one to take the lead and submit ourselves to independent evaluation and assessment, so that once and for all, for those who will be cleared after the process, will have the face to face, will have the courage and face the people that, hey, we undergone the process, we are clear, and it's time to move on, and it's time to trust against your PNP as a whole, and not just the involvement of some. We don't want that the involvement of some of our PNP personnel will tarnish the whole image of the PNP organization.
So on the other side of that, ma'am, what will be the protocol or action taken if there are some who refuse to heed the appeal for submitting their resignations?
Well, according to our Chief PNP, ma'am, and even the SILG, that there are plans to address if there are some senior officers who would opt not to submit their courtesy resignation, and I don't want to preempt their discretion on the matter. But suffice to say, according to them, if there are some or few that would not heed the call for the submission of courtesy resignation, they will at least exert some more efforts to explain to them the intention of this move. And if after the final reminders, then they opt not to submit their resignation, then we will leave it to the discretion of the PNP leadership. And of course, at the end of the day, it will be the appointing authority, the president, who will have the last say on the matter, ma'am.
All right, we are going to take a short break, ma'am. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Please stay tuned. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Our source today, PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo. Now, Colonel, based on your data, how many officials are linked to illegal drugs?
There are some names that were mentioned during the investigation, but I hope you understand, ma'am, I'm not at liberty to give the figures and even their names, but I will let our Chief PNP and lead investigator to do this task.
Okay, now some perceive this call for mass resignations as an act to smoke screen and protect the violators and give them a way out. What's your comment on that?
That is not the intention, Ma'am Ria. On the contrary, that this is a very challenging time for the PNP that requires a unprecedented move on the part of the PNP leadership. While it is true there were those mentioned and identified during the conduct of investigation by the Special Investigation Task Group created for the purpose of investigating the issue with respect to the confiscation of 990 kilos of shabu, wherein one sergeant that was caught selling illegal drugs. And hopefully that after this, again, like I said, this is not really a smoke ring. On the contrary, we are doing this to show to the people that the PNP is really serious in cleansing our rank. So that once and for all, after these processes, we are hoping and confident that the PNP will be in a better position.
Right. And to help that actually happen, there is the role of this 5-man panel, and this panel is going to review the links of the police officials. What would be the general qualifications considered for those who are or will be part of the panel?
Well, the selection process is, I think, undergoing, and it's the president who will ultimately choose who will be who will compose this 5-man committee. But what we really are requesting from our president and our SILG is hopefully whoever will be chosen to compose this 5-man committee should remain impartial and unbiased, and that no politics should be involved in conducting the evaluation and assessment with respect to the possible involvement of some of the senior officers of the PNP.
Right, but how does one safeguard the process from being politicized?
Well, we want, again, like I said, Ma'am Maria, earlier, that we want to put our trust in the system, and the reason why we heed the call of the SILG and our chief PNP is because as the senior officer, we should be the one who should put our trust in the system. And by saying that, and we are confident that our president and our senior leaders will do the right thing, and whoever will be put to task to compose the 5-man committee will have we are expecting that there will be those people will have a unquestionable integrity and reputation, so that they will conduct this process independently and away from any color of politics po.
Right, ma'am. Thank you for speaking with us this morning. We appreciate your time. That was PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. You're watching CNN Philippines.